Good morning. We are working on day 8 of the remote learning packet, and we are working on the page that has to do with text structure. You're going to need your textbook. You're going to need pages 324 and 325 in order to finish this page. Okay? So you might want to stop the video and go get your textbook and go to pages 324 and 325. All right. Text structure is how authors organize their texts. Sometimes a selection has several different text structures. In selections with multiple types of text structures, the authors organize parts of their text based on what will work best to get their ideas across. All right, these are some of the basic text structures. Comparison, contrast, or compare and contrast, which is to tell how ideas or topics are alike and different. All right. Cause and effect, which explains what happens and why. You use the word because a lot with cause and effect. Chronological or time order text structure. Sequence of events. To tell events in order of how they happened. First things first, second things second, third things third. You use phrases like one day or a week later or in that year. You use a lot of time words. And then there's problem and solution, to explain a problem and tell how it is solved. And that is usually pretty straightforward. They set it up in a very straightforward manner. Okay, so what we're going to do here is we're going to reread paragraphs 10 to 13 to analyze The Beatles Were Fab and They Were Funny for its structure. Then answer the questions. So paragraphs 10 to 13 are on pages 324 and 325. So you need to go back there. All right, let's take a look. Okay, paragraph 10. Well, I'm just going to start at the top of the page. When they got a new producer in 1962, the Beatles tried hard to make a good impression, but it wasn't easy. During a recording session, the producer listed the many things he didn't like about the music, then said politely, "Let me know if there's anything you don't like." Okay. A painful silence. George tried to lighten the mood. "Well, for a start, I don't like your tie." The producer laughed, but he still had the Beatles sing their song 17 times in a row. It was midnight before he thought it sounded right. The lads had their first record, Love Me Do, a song Paul had written 4 years earlier when he was 16. Once the bouncy tune got on the radio, people started listening. Months later, the Beatles' second record, Please Please Me, hit number 1 on the charts in England. The band began appearing on English TV, singing, joking, shaking their mop-top hair, and having a blast. The songs were fantastic, but the lads themselves were so cool, so funny, so fab, short for fabulous, that reporters started calling them the Fab Four. The first Beatles fan club started with 35 members and grew to 40,000 within a year. Fans sent their heroes love letters, stuffed animals, and their favorite English candy, squishy jelly babies. It was the birth of something new, Beatlemania. No one had seen or heard a band quite like the Beatles before. Fans followed them everywhere. The lads became clever at escaping crowds, although sometimes they needed help. Once, a police officer slung Ringo over his shoulders to get him to safety. Okay, so let's take a look at what kind of structure we have here. The structure we have here has a lot of time words. Look, okay? Well, for starters, I don't like your tie. The producer laughed, but he still had the Beatles sing their song 17 times in a row. It was midnight before he thought it sounded right. The lads had their first record, Love Me Do, a song Paul had written 4 years earlier when he was 16. Once the bouncy tune got on the radio, so you're talking about a time kind of word here. Once the bouncy tune got on the radio, people started listening. Months later, more time words. The Beatles' second record, Please Please Me, hit number 1 on the charts in England. The band began appearing on English TV. The songs are fantastic, but the reporters start calling them the Fab Four. All right. So again, we're talking in the next paragraph. We're again talking about time order words. The first Beatles fan club started with 35 members and grew to 40,000 within a year. More time. So, what do you think is the structure of these paragraphs that the authors have written? All right. So, question number 1 said, how is this part of the text organized? When you start your answer, it should start with, this part of the text is organized in blank structure. So you need to choose one of these 4 structures. What clues do the authors include to show the text structure? Some of the clue words used are, and then give examples of some clue words. Now, number 3. I'm kind of giving you the answer here, but it's going to help you do questions number 1 and 2. How does knowing the text structure help you understand the author's purpose for writing? So the author's purpose for writing this, as we've already talked about, is that they wanted you to show that the Beatles were a funny band as well as great musicians. So we're going to structure this answer this way. Knowing the text structure helps me understand that the Beatles continued to be both fab and funny over a long period of time. All right, so big clue right there as to how you answer this and this. Good luck.